to the end of another week. It's beautiful today, but we've had quite a bit of rain this week. So I've been working on cleaning up. I tidied up all the crap that was here, and I started cutting down things to refresh our... We have a big white bag over there of small woods for the fireplace. I've been kind of tidying up in here, getting trash and things ready to go to the dumpsters at the end of the street. I weeded out those planters. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them this year, but at least they're ready to go. I uncovered my spider plant and 2 of my citrus trees, so that's happening, Mr. B. Over here, I got a bee in my bonnet that I wanted to clean up the driveway. So I kind of started. I re-exposed the border that was completely overgrown, and I started again trimming the small woods that we'll put into the container to dry over the summer, and then we'll use those for kindling over the winter. Spring has sprung. We have our pretty yellow flowers, and this guy has started to bloom. And over here, my pink magnolia is looking gorgeous. So that's kind of cool. Not exactly sure what's going to happen here, but ultimately, like, all the weeds have to come out of the driveway. This is going to be kindling. I should probably give this ornamental pomegranate another haircut because it's wild. This is the pile of stuff that I cut off it in the winter, and it's so crazy. It really needs to get trimmed. So we'll see what happens there. Other things that have been happening. I got some white paint for the trees, so I'll probably try to do that this next week. Down on my experimental alley here, I cut the bush that was growing there, so that's been destroyed again. I started weeding all the way along here because this is where I used to put like seedlings and stuff, my experiments and propagation projects and things like that. So, pile of junk, all the weeds that I pulled out of the space, and things that I'm just playing with. But over here, so I jerry-rigged this thing down with bungee cords because it was flying all over the place. And I have actually started sprouting some things in that first pot. So this is being used. I'm thinking about potentially getting another one of these because in my room, I'm growing seedlings, and all of the space under the grow lights are now used up. So I really have to move them out. And I think we are done with frost for this year, but the nights are still like 5 degrees C. So ideally, I would let things warm up at night a bit more, but we'll get there. Out here, that pile I will explain in a bit. You can see there's a big pile of wood over there because they've been harvesting the pine forest again. So that's been interesting. The big news is work is recommencing on the chicken area. I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago at this point that this pen was delivered with chicken wire. So I used that, and then the neighbor daughter mentioned that we have weasels, and weasels will slide through this, no problem. So I am now painstakingly stripping all of the chicken wire off, and I'll reuse that somewhere else in the garden. But I will be buying a lot more of this 1/2-inch hardware cloth, and the entire coop will be done in in 1/2 inch hardware cloth instead. Here you can see that we've planted the piquets, at least for the fence. The fence isn't up, but the piquets are in. This is where the gate's going to go. This is the pallet that we decided to make the gate from, but we have to like fix that board because it's rotted. But that's the plan. This is going to be the gate. I'll put some hardware cloth there. And then along here, we're just going to stick with the regular cattle fencing. And I might adjust that later if we need to. This is my aprium cotton candy. So it's 75% apricot and 25% plum, but it is awake. So let's hope there's no frosts. But now that the piquets are in, I can potentially start thinking about setting up the chicken compost area, which will be here. If I come up here, you can see the row of willows are still doing their thing. So that's happening. What else? Oh, yeah. That pile of green actually came from this tree here. So purposefully, we tried to trim it so that from the outside, you can't really tell too much of a difference. But if I come in, you can definitely start seeing that it's got a bald spot. So this tree, ultimately, I want to bring down, but I don't want to bring it down right away. So I went ahead and I got up there and I basically opened up the inner canopy, and there's still some like big branches that I need to manually come and saw down. And then I'm hoping that the tree will go ahead and send out new shoots and fill in this intersection. And then next year, we can potentially trim the outer canopy because we'll have the inner canopy at a lower level. Because overall, like, I like the tree and I want to keep it for the shade, but it's too tall. It casts too much of a shadow on the garden, and so I kind of want to get it, you know, a little bit more compact, sort of right there in the center. So that will be a multi-year project to kind of recondense it down to its like core heart there, but it'll happen. That's what's going on there. I got the rest of the mulch for the most part done here. I did order and receive more boxes. I just haven't built them yet. So this week I'll go ahead and do those, and then I can finish the mulch in here. I did get some compost, not only in the center, but I started adding compost to the planters as well. Over around here, you can actually see we have some asparagus sprouting. So let's hope we don't have a frost, because asparagus does not like frost. Basically, all of the dark patches are where the asparagus has popped through the dirt. And I mean, there's some more popping through, but basically as they pop through, I'm surrounding them with the compost, and that way I can see when everybody has at least surfaced, and then I'll start basically mulching this with compost, and then eventually putting a layer of mulch over this whole area. So that is the plan for that. I harvested my sunchokes. So these are sunchokes. Or topinambur is what they're called here. I love these. I wish I could eat them raw, but they're also called fartichokes because they definitely give you gas, especially if you eat them raw. But basically this whole pile was harvested from just this little thing, which is basically like 1 foot by 2 foot. So quite a nice quite a nice harvest of little sunchokes. And you can use them like potatoes. That's how I use them. Roast them, or I pickle them too, and they're pretty tasty. I really like them, so I'm going to keep growing them. As a matter of fact, I have those already planted in that corner pot, so they should be coming in eventually. The yacon has surfaced, so under here we have the yacon tubers, and it's starting to do its thing. This is the geranium that completely, like, yeah, froze down, but it's coming back slowly, so that's good. And then I think in the other square pot way at the corner there, I have a lemon verbena that I'm hoping will also come back. Everything else is doing pretty well. We have some perpetual leeks there, elephant garlic here. My chives are coming back super nice. If you didn't see, I actually had to completely cut them back because they were infested with rust, which is like a fungal thing because it's super humid here, so we have fungal issues. But yeah, they were infested with rust, so I cut them all the way down to the ground, and they're growing back super nice. The onions are doing really well after their haircut. They're growing back super fast again. I mean, I was trying to trim them down so that they wouldn't get rust, but we'll see what happens. Irrigation is a project for next week. I actually got these. I haven't tested them yet, so I hope they work. I got these soaker hoses online. So I've laid soaker hoses in each of the beds, which I'm hoping will help with the watering, because I'm really, really bad with that. And the idea is that this hose goes all the way down to the corner of the house over there, so it kind of like zigzags through the yard, and it's going to come up here on a spigot. And then I'm going to put like a splitter and stuff. And I haven't quite, I mean, I have all kinds of like little pieces of hardware and stuff, but I haven't quite decided exactly how I'm going to do the watering. But ultimately the water source is going to be here. And each of these beds will be somehow individually controlled. So either I'll have like a short hose and a long hose, and then just manually plug them in like as I need them, which is where I'm leaning right now. Or I may have it where I have 2 hoses and 2 long hoses, and then they're always set up and I can just like turn them on and off as I need them, rather than having to plug them and unplug them. But we'll see what happens. Like I say, super humid environment, and I'm used to just being able to like water whenever I want and not have a problem, because in California it's dry enough that you can do that, but out here it's definitely not. So folks basically said that soaker hoses are the way to go to basically water at ground level rather than watering from above. And then all of that straw out there will kind of take the place of the miscanthus. So on these beds, they have the compost, but once they get planted, I'll go ahead and mulch with straw as well, and that will help retain the moisture at ground level. Plus, it'll help when it rains to prevent, you know, any fungal spores from jumping up from the ground and infecting the plants. So all of that being said, things to come. Oh, actually, we also, Francis and I went to visit that forest over there, which is where, this is the forest that they're harvesting to produce all of the wood that's up here. And I'll throw in some footage and some photos, because like from here it looks great, and that's really nice because I'm used to seeing the forest now. So even though Like basically on this side, well, actually throughout the forest, it's basically been thinned by at least half, if not maybe 2/3. But on the other side, we actually have like an agricultural train track that goes all the way along that like perimeter there. And it goes on the other side of the forest. So we actually walked all the way over there to take a look, and like it is a muddy disaster. I mean, I know it's a man-made forest, like it was purposely planted to harvest for pine, but it's still kind of devastating when you go and see what the tractors are doing to the area. Water, we got some water this week, not a lot, but some. And temperatures definitely hasn't frozen. We did have a storm. It got quite windy. So let's see. Yeah. So it's still getting cold, but not below freezing. Yeah, so things to come this week. Irrigation, more work on the chicken area, more work on my seedling area. The orchard trees I am hoping to have painted by the end of next week. And I'm hoping to have the extra containers, mint containers, set up here so that I can get my last mint into the ground. And depending on how much compost I have left, I may try to fill up the rest of the containers here and get my other tubers into containers. So yeah, that's what's happening here. I hope you had a great day. I mean, a great week. And I will see you next week. Oh my gosh, look at Benchy. He is seriously digging. He's deaf. Like if I hollered now, he wouldn't be able to hear me. But I caught him in the action, digging into one of the ground. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna have to go and get him to stop. So I will I will leave you be. I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you next week. Bye.